So today's video, I really wanted to break down, could Joe Dumars be the authoritative figure that not only does this franchise need and everybody involved, but specifically Zion Williamson? Could Joe Dumars really come here and maybe change the tide of how things are looking in New Orleans? So we're going to break that down right now in the Pelicans Scoop. Y'all know what time it is, so cue my music.
This is the Pelicans Scoop with Jordan Kitchens, breaking down everything under the sun about your New Orleans Pelicans. Smash that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to stay on top of your Pels content. Now, running point, here's Jordan.
What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another edition of the Pelicans Scoop. I am your host with the most, Jordan Kitchens, and the energy is high a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, because today is my birthday. Yeah, I know. I'm becoming unk now, I'm turning 25, and I just feel good, man. Like I said, I just feel good to just, doing what I love to do, being here, talking to you guys. So I ain't gonna get a little too sappy, I ain't gonna get a little too sentimental. So, I do appreciate the people that's watching this that, like the video for my birthday. Just, just drop a like for, a brother birthday, I'll try to give you guys good content. It ain't gonna hurt. It ain't gonna hurt the channel. It ain't gonna hurt the channel. So I just was really sitting here thinking last night, wondering, could Joe Dumars really seriously be the stern figure that this franchise needs? Because, looking at it from the outside looking in, it's like, yes, Joe Dumars, he was working in the league office, doing the fines. He was the guy, the disciplinarian in the league office. So this is definitely what this franchise needs, discipline. And Joe Dumars is one of those guys where his whole career is pretty much built on discipline. So last video I did, we was talking about what the nicknames we're going to call Joe Dumars. So I'm leaning towards General Joe. A lot of you guys were liking the General Joe. G.I. Joe wasn't really, people didn't like the Sleepy Joe. So let's just call him General Joe for the time being, unless he does something non-general like, and we got to switch that bad boy up. But the real kind of inspiration behind this video, I saw this clip that was on ESPN's little basketball countdown with Shams and the whole little crew, Wendy and on them up there, and they were basically, this is back when the Pelicans were leaning towards hiring Joe Dumars, even though this move has been in the bag for at least the last 4 months. The backdoored Griff, but that's a whole conversation for another day. But basically, this is the clip that kind of inspired me.
But I think everyone thinks back to Zion Williamson, right? He's only been available in 45% of games since he's come to New Orleans. How will this hire impact Zion?
Zion Williamson has had one head of basketball operations since he's been drafted, and that's David Griffin. So this is a complete shift. This is someone new that's going to be coming in to run this Pelicans organization. Expect some very candid conversations between Joe Dumars once he is officially in the mix and Zion Williamson. They're going to have a sit down eventually. We saw during this regular season, Zion Williamson was suspended during the season for tardiness. And as a face of the franchise, this is something around the Pelicans. They know professionalism, the increase of that is going to be necessary for Zion Williamson. And we know Joe Dumars' history. He's a 3-time champion as a player with the Pistons, those old 80s, 90s Pistons. He's a championship executive in 2004. So he's going to bring a different level of authority and accountability, I think, in New Orleans. This is a different figure coming in.
So yes, this clip did come out before the Joe Dumars press conference, before Joe Dumars even had the job. This is right when Griff got fired. But, he did come out in the press conference saying that there is no mandate to trade Zion and whatnot, that him and Zion have, had conversations, they talked and whatnot. But, that's all what the public says. All right, anybody in a public position, in a public figure position can sit there and say anything to the public. You just got to just take it for what it is. But only we can tell, once we'll start seeing dominoes start to fall once they figure out what draft pick they have. So I'm not going to sit here and say that, yeah, him and Zion are locked in or whatnot, but he did mention in this press conference, he was like, yeah, I've had to have conversations with Zion before I was even here. We've had to talk multiple times before. Joe Dumars handles the disciplinary actions of the league. And, Zion has been in the headlines for a lot of wonky things. Not particularly bad things, just wonky things. But can Joe Dumars seriously bring some type of stability, not only to Zion, but not only to Zion's NBA life, but I hate to say it, his personal life. When we're talking about Zion, it's like a double whammy. He has his off the court antics, which horniness, and then you got his on the court where it's like, all right, well, it's on his professionalism. Let's just say that. So last year, he got suspended for missing the flights. He got, missing the practice, missing the after workout treatments and doing this, not taking care of his body, right? They had to suspend this man for missing flights. So that means this has been going on, right? So will Joe Dumars come in Like David Griffin was saying, I'm not gonna say David Griffin was condoning it, but you wasn't correcting it, so you kind of was condoning it, right? You never corrected these bad actions, and you just let them run rampant. Now, will Joe Dumars really? I do believe that Joe Dumars is a man of his word. I'm not gonna sit there and say Joe Dumars is gonna be, half stepping with it, but will Joe Dumars really put that hammer down? But listen, man, either my way or the highway. Simple as that. You have to be a professional because this franchise is counting on you, right? Not only is the players counting on you, but the people that are coaching are counting on you. The people sitting there writing the checks in the front office are counting on you. The people grabbing the coffee in the morning are counting on you. All these people are counting on you. All our jobs kind of lay at your feet. What y'all do on the court helps us. And what we do for you in the front office helps y'all. It needs to be, one of these, nice, cohesive relationship, and you kind of just see it separated. Will Joe Dumars come in and be able to change that, mend that, bring it all together? Because it just seems like there's a disconnect on so many levels, and it's a trickle-down effect. And it's probably more people on the team than just Zion, but Zion dirty laundry is all in the news, so he's the easiest, the low-hanging fruit. I'm just calling it what it is, unfortunately. But toughness and accountability is what this franchise needs through and through. And Joe Dumars, will he be able to bring that? We're supposed to believe that he will. Right? I'm not sitting there writing Joe off, but, everybody can say what they will do and what they want to do, but will they do that? Will their actions match up to what their words say? And if anybody, it will benefit while having accountability and toughness is Zion Williamson. Without a doubt. Like, I think Joe Dumars will be able to come in and just say, look, man, I done been to the top of the mountain. I'm a champion, an executive role and a player role. So I seen guys like you come and go. Now, if you really want to be dedicated to this, and to what we got going on, to be able to lock in, be able to make amends. But does that mean that Zion acts out? Like, you know what? I don't like this, bro. Y'all putting all these rules and regulations on me. I can't do this and that. I can't have all my chickens over here. I can't do this. Man, I'm out of here, man. Forget y'all. Could be like that. I'm going to act out. I'm out. These just scenarios. We just talking about scenarios and whatnot. But will Joe Dumars bring that change? Because Lord knows we need it. And I just feel like Willie Green, he just doesn't have that in him to be how Joe Dumars would come in, to be stern and, yeah, we're not doing this, no BS approach. Willie's kind of like that substitute teacher that comes in every now and then that y'all know is a pushover. Like, we ain't listening to this guy. We throwing spitballs at you. Willie come here. Hey, everybody, no phones. Everybody like, and then they just bust out laughing at Willie. Like, he's one of those guys. It's like, can Joe Dumars actually be that figure that this team needs? I hate to say it, but this team needs a strong figure. You need somebody at the top that's a no BS approach. David Griffin, on the other hand, he wants to be your friend. He wants to be everybody's friend. He doesn't want no bad blood. It was a slime ball. He's moving slimy, trying to backdoor Willie, and at the same time, the franchise is backdooring him. David Griffin is the archetype of somebody that thinks they're the smartest guy in the room all the time, and he just tries to think he's outwitting you and just think because he's using these big words and these go long soliloquies, he's saying all this, that is just going to be like, oh yeah, whatever. But Joe Dumars, on the other hand, it's going to be a way different approach to that. It's going to be a way different approach. Joe Dumars is going to be a way different approach, and that's what this team needs, man. That's what this team needs. If we want to keep it in the school scene, like I said, Willie's that substitute teacher. Joe Dumars is the assistant principal that come, he come looking the door like this. Everybody shut up. That's the vibes I get from Joe Dumars. The whole class is acting a actual fool. They going dumb. They throwing paper. They not listening. They basically standing on the desk. Joe Dumars tip his head in there. Everybody sit down, quiet as a mouse. Everybody. That's all they do. He go stand in there and stand in the back. I'm telling you, that's when everybody most attentive. People, they got people that never wore glasses before, put glasses on, sitting there. Yes, sir. That is 2 + 2, sir. Yeah. That's what happened when Joe Dumars walked in the room. Can't say the same thing for Griff, and I for damn sure can't say the same thing about Willie. I know for a fact. Cannot say that. So, but actions speak louder than words. So we will see what Joe Dumars, what does he intend on doing, especially, dealing with the coaching situation. If he wants to keep Willie, we don't know. Says he do. Like I said, but actions speak louder than words. And honestly, there will be no actions until they figure out what this lottery pick will be. And I think that's May 12th or 14th. One of those dates. I'm pretty sure it's May 12th. But one of those dates, that's when the lottery will happen. And man, that is the day of reckoning where we will see the future unfold in front of us. Either it's going to be really, really, really good, or it might be really bad. I'm sorry, guys. I hate to say it like that, but those are the only options we have. really good or really bad. And the only thing I'd be like kind of in the middle, you maybe pick 4. Anything lower, like, maybe pick 4. But you're really looking for a top 3. So maybe 4 might be anything lower than 4 is like bad. So yeah, thank you guys for sticking in for another edition, well, a birthday edition of the Pelicans Scoop. Y'all let me know down in the comments, do you guys think Joe Dumars can come in and change the tide, the direction of the franchise? Do you believe that Joe Dumars can do that? Or are you just like, nah, man, I just think until, Zion leave, you're one of those people that's trade Zion. I don't know. Y'all let me know, because it's like every video is just different people. I got the people that want to trade Zion. I got the people that don't want to trade Zion. I got people that want to get rid of Willie. I got people that don't want to get a Willie. I got people that like Dumars. I got people that hate Dumars. It's just so much turmoil, I feel like, in the fan base. And I feel like it is what it is, man, because this is the product they're giving us. It's not like we can sit there and dress it up any better. You can't put a monkey in a dress and expect it to be a girl. It just is what it is. You can't slap lipstick on a monkey and think it's Paris Hilton or Rihanna or something like that. It's not. It's still a monkey in a damn dress with some lipstick on, and that's what this franchise apparently is at the moment. But we can still have some type of positivity, all about the lottery. That's where the positivity will come, from the lottery. But other than that, man, if the franchise can't give us nothing to be happy about, it ain't really nothing for us to be happy about. So that's why I feel like the fan base is just so torn in different ways. It's like a broken heart in 4 different sections. You have different subsections of the fan base, and I feel like for us to be, maybe I'm just talking. I don't know what it's like to be a successful franchise, to have a successful fan base, but I feel like we kind of all need to be, on the same tone or just too different. There's so many different things going on in the fan base, so different, so broken. So I feel like we need to come together, man. That's just me. That's just my little analysis. But if the franchise can't give us no better, that's what's just going to continue to happen. So y'all let me know down in the comments, man. Y'all let me know anything, man. I'm all ears, and I'm signing out. Peace.